Welcome to Attican Plays Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. All right, hi, this is Attican, and welcome to part 7 of our first replay of Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. Now, in the last episode, we set up our first farms, and then I proceeded to go ahead and play a little bit and move a little bit, just a little bit forward. However, I had some technical problems. I won't go into all of them, but lost some files, then regained those files, and then had recording issues and had to upgrade and buy new software to record the videos. It's a long story. You don't care, but the end of it is that we're going to go ahead with part 7, but we're going to move ahead in time a little bit. You'll notice it's November of 1965 here. And I will go up here and show you the farms. I'm almost sad that I found this file. That may sound silly, but I found the save of what we did. But this farm setup has 12 fields. I kept saying 12 and I only had 10, but I've added 2 more out here. So there's actually 12 fields attached to this farm. I had a rethink about the farms, and I had redone it after I thought I'd lost this file, and actually had a nice farm with 17 fields on it. So we may go there. We may go here and clean this up a little bit. But what I did want to show you is this. We have grown crops. We now have a full silo of grain, and we need to deal with that. And it's been sitting there for a while, so shame on me. Hopefully it's not rotting on us. So, and you'll notice these lines out here. This is just for the kind of placeholder for an eventual delivery system. And I'm probably I think we're going to rip that out and start over now that I've rethought how to do this. But we're not there yet. I wanted to show you what I was doing in the interim. And in the interim is I started our steel mill. So, placed the steel mill here just south of I'm calling it south, just below, down the hill in Mansk to take advantage of all this coal. So we have a very nice coal operation. We've got a full storage here, a storage here that is pumping coal into the steel mill as fast as it can. I've renamed this area down here as Stal, S-T-A-L. Some of you will know what that means. And so we've got 2 power plants going nice and strong. You'll notice all the workers in there. I did some tweaking to make sure that we had the right bus lines running to get people into these 2 power plants. That actually became an issue for a while. I was getting some issues where I wasn't keeping power to all the trains I'm running. And speaking of that, we've got right down here, we've got a train that is set up to export our steel. So you can see it's loading. It's already made a couple of runs, I think, at this point, a couple of exports. But you can see steel is worth a lot of money. When this is fully loaded or close to fully loaded, it's over 200,000 rubles for a trip. So that's nice. But we've got our line going up here that we had before. The only difference is you'll notice this loader. We had an aggregate loader right here for trains. I've taken that out and then repurposed that track to go down here, down a little bridge, and into our steel mill so that our steel can be delivered across to Kaizina over here, kind of near our farms. So right up here. So we're delivering our steel to Kaizina at a good price. And let's go back and see what the other piece, because steel needs, of course, you need all these workers. Got it up to 136 right now. I'm still working on that. I started out with this little community right over here. These people are walking to work over here. We've got their support in place, staffed by this building, this apartment. And then I just recently started adding in a new section. Was letting the hospital and fire from up here service everything down here. Decided that what we need to do is really ramp up the number of people in the steel mill. Obviously, we want to get this up to 350, 400 like we did to the refinery. and have a lot of people coming in here. You'll notice there's plenty of iron because we have a train sitting here that is unloading iron. It has 500 tons of iron left in it, and we have max storage of 150 in our steel mill. So we've got this this setup similar to the way we did the refinery. We're using the same model where we've got these trains coming in and they unload until they're completely empty, so they become additional storage for the steel mill. And then we've got a second train running, and I've got this big old line set up to go way over here to our iron ore production. And it goes way over here. Here's another train. Is it leaving or coming? It's going back. This one is going back. Let's just follow it back, and it'll take us where we want to go. So we'll follow this train. And I will say this, after building this and after kind of watching my own video about track laying and thinking about it some more, I've decided that for now, what I believe to be a best practice is when you have a long line like this, don't think about trying to double track it. See, I was thinking of this as a double track all the way and single track only where necessary, where there's a problem with the terrain or whatever. And I think it needs to go the other way around. It should be single track and only doubled as necessary to allow additional trains. This game does not require you to run a billion trains. This isn't Railway Empire. This game is more about having one right train or two or three, but not 15. So single track with passing lanes where needed so that you can run more than one train, of course, and that seems to work beautifully. So that's probably where we're going to go from now on. But you can see this one loading. So as soon as it turns day, I'll show you this operation. You can see parts of it here at night. This up here is the mining area. Here we go. So the sun's coming up. We've got an iron ore mine up here that is pumping out iron ore. It's going into an aggregate store here. As you can see, it's full. We've got two iron ore processing plants set up here. And that one needs workers. I'm going to have to work on that. That one has workers, but it kind of doesn't matter right now because we need some iron. Okay, good. Well, here's something we can fix. We'll do that in a minute once I finish showing you how this is set up. So here's our little town. We've got our town down here. What's it called? I gave it a name. What did I call it? Železo. Železo, I guess I'm saying that correctly. But anyway, this is called Železo, and this is the town to support all this activity up here. So our iron ore miners get up there via railway. So we've got a couple of trains shuttling back and forth, running a nice little Machinki loop down here and coming up and loading, unloading here. And you can see the people coming out and going to work. They are assigned to work in the iron mine. So anybody who comes up to this platform will go work in the iron mine. There comes a few more people working the iron mine. So good deal on that. And then to staff these two, we've got a bus lines running. So we've got a building here that's set to walk over to the bus platform, and then the buses pick up the waiting workers there. In fact, we can turn off passengers and students. There's no place for them to go. And we've got a bus going to each iron mine. And let's see, I believe that's the only one. Yes. Okay, so that one is assigned to go there. So we're going to go out and get us some more workers. Make sure we have enough. We need 40, need 120. Yeah, let's just fill her up. Okay, so we've got workers in that. We don't need the college-educated ones there. So let's move our college-educated ones over here, like so. And this building here is supplying the workers for all of our support, for our ambulance, for our hospital, for our fire station, and for our school. And we need teachers, don't we? Let's see here. We've got, let's see. We should be picking up teachers since we transferred those educated people. Here we go. And we need to get that that working better. We also do not need these people over here. Let's see here. Are going to the train platform. Yes, these people over here are going to this platform, which then takes them up to the mine. So these are our miners. These are our processing workers, and these people are the ones who are doing everything else, all the staffing work. So everything's very specialized, but we want to take any college grads that we have. If you use this method, we want to take all of our college grads and scoot them over to this building. Because it's a waste to have them work in the mine when they could be out teaching our next set of miners. So let's see here. Relocate you. And eventually we'll get, by the way, we haven't even gotten into education yet, higher education, universities. We will soon. And when we do that, we'll work on having so many university grads that we won't have to do this micromanagement anymore. All right, so we see how this works. We've got assigned people going to the railroad station. The station drops people off up here. This platform's assigned to work here. We've got our buses running back and forth here. And I think also I'm going to add a couple of buses. We'll have a couple running to make sure we've got a good shuttle going. And I haven't looked at these buses or the, you know, I haven't gotten into the details about how to use the various you know, what's the best bus. I haven't gone there yet. So I'm going to copy the bus line from this existing bus to that guy. And then I'm going to copy the bus line for this one to that guy. And then I'm going to tell this one to start. Oh, I wish I hadn't done that. Let's see. Let's send him back to the depot. Okay, I want to let these two existing buses get on up the hill, and then we'll start them. Spread them out a little bit. So, okay, so you can start, and you can start. Okay, so now we've got more doubled up our buses. We've got people waiting. There they go. So we should be able to staff, and we've got more people coming over to work. So we should keep these guys staffed. That's getting better. That's getting much better. There we go. Now we're looking good. So, and we've already sent our other train off, it looks like. And we're starting to accumulate more iron. So that's our iron setup. And this one right here doesn't have power because I've disconnected a couple of the lines. And still working on the best way to do these the lines and the semaphores and all that. It's still a work in progress, but getting better. And I have something great to share with you here in a little bit. All right, so on that front. So there's our iron ore process working pretty well. Are we making any money? Yeah, we're starting to make money. I mean, I've spent a lot of money lately. Made a little bit in November, but imported a lot of vehicles. Spent 600,000 rubles on vehicles. Had 909,000 in revenue. Let's see about this month. Decent, but not awesome. Not awesome, but we'll get there. It'll turn around because you can see we're now have more money than we had before I built all this huge infrastructure to help us with the steel mill. So, all right. So the thing that needs to happen now I'd like to follow the same process. Now this is nice. Watch this. We have a train in here that's still unloading. If I can click on the right thing, this train right here. There, has it finished? Yeah, it's still unloading iron, and we have another train queued up right behind us. So that's beautiful, because that means we're going to have a steady supply of iron going into our steel mill, and will not be importing any. And we've got our coal coming in, and you can see the coal is actually now struggling to keep up, which is great. Great, that's what we want. And we need to make sure that that's doing a better job. The other thing we can do, let me see if this will work. We've got 2 hoppers here. Whoops. Conveyor. Okay. And let's check on this fire, make sure it's not something we don't like. A prefab install, which is right there. And let's see, I haven't built this fire department. That'll be interesting to see if that other fire department will go take care of it. Fire truck is headed to the fire, good deal. We're getting a couple of injuries from the fire. That's not good. Our fire truck, you can see, is putting out the fire as we speak. There we go. Fire's been extinguished. We take our injuries to the hospital, and we're in good shape. And we've just got a new hospital down here. They can go out and take care of those people. All right, so a disaster averted. Our first responders, as usual, did a great job. So where was I? I think where I was the thing we need to do now is take the same approach with this, what I'd like to do, that we took with our refinery. You can see that we're starting to stuff the iron in there. The coal, I want to work on the coal for a minute and make sure that we're getting plenty of 112 miners is actually pretty good. That's more than we need. 242 tons of ore. This thing is in perfect shape. Okay, this was a design flaw, shame on me. Should have had at least one more coal or processing plant in Mansk, because we're asking this mine and this setup to take care of 2 power plants and now a steel mill. That's a lot of coal. So there's a ton of demand. Our steel mill, even at 139, at maximum it would take 375 tons of coal a day. So we're probably using 100 tons of coal a day right now. So needs a lot. We'd love to have another coal ore processing plant. The problem with it is there's 2 problems, 2 design flaws here. One, I didn't leave space for the processing plant. It's very clumsy up here in the hills to put one in. And 2, the city of Mansk, I actually made it too cute. I really loved it. It's a nice closed loop little city, but I need to have some roads coming out of it so we can, I've said this before, so we can have more versatility and use it for more things and expand it as we need it. So right now is a case where we need it. And what else do I need to say? What else needs to happen to it? Well, that's the 2 things. We need this, and we need to be able to get from Mansk to another one of these. So, how to. And actually that, to me, that's a bigger problem than trying to build more staff into the steel mill, because if we ran this up to 300, we'd only be exacerbating the fact that our coal is perhaps underperforming a little bit. Because if your coal is underperforming and you just have more and more people in the steel mill, you're just needing more and more coal. And our best bet would be to make sure the coal is working and we can supply or oversupply the steel mill with coal, and then add more people and use that coal. And isn't that a nice look? Sometimes at night they do look nice. And the steel, same kind of a thing. I'm following the same kind of a pattern here. If you'll notice, I'm using really housing blocks very much. I used to play Pharaoh a lot, And if any of you played Pharaoh, you know what I mean. These housing blocks are awesome as ways to organize yourself, to have all your services. And this has got the same kind of deal as the iron ore. Like these apartments are walking to work here. These apartments over here are to supply workers for all of our shopping and our hospital. And I intend to put a fire station in here as well. But we did see that this one up here was able to service a fire way down here. So that tells me we're probably okay on the fire for right now. So thank you, that fire was extinguished. So we want to get into, again, what are our next tasks? Optimize the coal, and then we've got to go work on our farms. I mean, my goodness, we've got all these crops just sitting there. It's time to use them. If nothing else, we can make some food and alcohol and export it. And we can also think about, do we want to ship some food and alcohol down here to Mansk and to Stall and start feeding our folks without importing? Because if we look at our costs, let's look at last month so we can have a full month. Our import costs. We imported a little bit of iron because we haven't quite had the flow going with the iron, but I think we got it now, for at least for the time being. We've got the iron coming in at a good pace. We did import some coal, so that shows us that the coal is a problem we need to fix. We did import 94,000 rubles of oil, and I'll tell you that's kind of a lesson learned as well. I had been trying to be greedy and do some exporting of the power. I've decided to turn off the exporting and forget about those few thousand rubles that you make each month on power, and make sure that we have power for all our trains and stuff. Because what happened, and I wasn't even seeing it until later on, we would have power problems, and we're running electric trains, which are of course taking a ton of power, and so the trains would stall. Well, you can't have stalling trains in a network, in a system that just relies completely on power. So let's do this. Let's wrap up this episode. Let's play it through the end of the year. We'll take a look and see how we're doing, and we'll make our list of what we need to do, kind of our punch list of items we need to do in our next episode. But here we can see our refinery is running great. It's got plenty of oil now. We're not doing a lot of importing. We've got our money train out here doing its thing, making us lots of money. Look at our income. It's going right back up very, very nicely. So we're looking pretty good here. Let's just let this run for a couple of days, and we'll come into a new year and work on our punch list. And as I said, the punch list I think is simple. Coal is number one. Then I think let's go do the farms. Let's go do the food and alcohol. So we'll build a new town and do food and alcohol. And I think at first we'll just start exporting it, and then we'll worry about thinking about how we might want to deliver it to our other cities, or even if we want to. And so we've got coal, then food and alcohol, and then we'll come back and build our steel mill up and start optimizing it so we're getting at least a couple hundred to 250 people. And then we can even come back here. I mean, this never ends. We can come back here and optimize Mansk, because it's not getting, we need more people in the refinery. What do we got? In Zalezo, we've got a fire down here. Fortunately, we've got a nice fire department, so that fire should be, you can see the little truck down here already working on it, putting that fire out. We've got a nice we've got a hospital to take care of anybody that gets wounded, so that should go out. And there, we flipped over to a new year. And let's see how we're doing. Last month, we made about, pardon me, about 600,000. And that tells me that we're not as optimized as we should be. We should be making a lot more than that, given the fact that we have our oil refinery business was making, $950 at 1 month, and we've added steel. So we're just not optimized. We just need to go through and clean things up. So we're doing all right, but we're not doing great, and we're going to work on turning that all right into great on our next few episodes. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it'll help you become a better player, and I hope you'll join us for our next Workers and Resources Soviet Republic video. Thank you.